right? I said, are you ready to learn how to make manga? Get out there! Lot better. I bet if I did the Freddie Mercury, hey, oh, then you respond. Anyways, thank you for all coming. This is my first panel, so if you see a little puddle on the floor, do not mind, I'm just crapping myself right now. Thank you very much. So today, obviously, we are going to go through the process from starting with just an idea to getting it published or self-published, what you need to do, and how to get out there as an independent published or a published mangaka. I'm going to introduce myself. I'm James Raven, also known as Vamp the Lost Soul and the manga series. Vamp the Lost Soul, yeah, I know it's confusing, but there you go. Anyways, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Graham. I own a company called Original Resins and the author of The Head of Cat, which is manga coming out in October.
And are you published or self-published?
I shall be both, so it will be a self-publication and a published one coming out on the internet October as well.
And speaking of guests, would you like to introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Ayinde Hall. I'm with Studio Maho. We're a manga and animation studio produced in Texas. And we were here last year, so I don't know if anybody was here last year, but we did a panel last year on our studio and just how we got started and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Hello everyone, my name's LSF. I own a company called Oseki Publishing. Specialize in basically publishing Western mangas, getting them into stores. So our business model is basically helping take the load of the creator. So I know being an independent creator, there's so much you have to do when you're self-publishing in terms of marketing, editing, print and distribution. Our company aims to basically assign you an editor, help you with your marketing, help you with your print and help you with your distribution. So thank you everyone for coming.
Thank you very much, and it is a breath of fresh air that self-publishers are getting a little extra oomph in getting their books out there. Yes, I know I'm cheesy, deal with it. So, how do you start? Simply, you need an idea that you want to create. Don't let, oh, what's popular at the time? What is going to make me the most money? Because the problem is, it's great to see, if you want to see financial success out of your works, you want that. But if you're doing it just for the money, well, people will tell quite quickly. It becomes a bit soulless, in my opinion. But once you get that idea, start writing a script, start obviously drawing your characters, whatever order you want. As long as you've got the initial concept, a synopsis to work off from, you can start building from the ground up. Now, let me just warn you, our experiences can be different. Every one of us has gone through our own journey. So mine could not be the be-all end-all. It's a journey that suits you the best. But there will be some basic things that you'll need to know. What are your thoughts about starting with an idea?
That is key, and I feel like sometimes we put a time frame on how long we should have the idea for. Sometimes we over-confuse ourselves and think that we need to develop. However, sometimes it's okay to put what you have on the page and just get started from there. Not every idea has to be perfect. Take your inspirations from where you get them from. And I'm not saying copy, but if you like an idea of something, develop on that idea. And another thing I've learned as well with creating ideas, I guess, is don't be afraid to mix certain concepts together. So if you have like a superhero story, a supernatural story, and you think, oh, I have to fixate on the supernatural story or fixate on the superhero story, don't be afraid to like mix and mash ideas together. So yeah, that's what I'd say about starting a story.
Yeah, honestly, one of my own stories, which is currently ongoing, is it was an idea I had at 3 a.m. It was just a random idea, like, hey, you know, what if ancient swords were keys to giant mecha? That spawned an entire series. I stayed up for 3-4 hours just researching and spiraling down into a rabbit hole on the internet of you know, just researching swords, researching mechas, researching all these series that I was interested in that kind of fit that mold of what I was trying to create. So it really can start that simple. And it took me a while to develop it, but just putting the ideas on paper, whether it's bullet points or full-on paragraphs, it doesn't have to be neat. Just get the ideas out there, out of your head and onto something, so that you don't forget them. And you can kind of see, okay, this is where my idea was going. And it's good to look back on when you actually decide to fully develop the project, because then you're like, oh, I remember I had an idea for this. I remember that I wanted to take the story in this direction, but then I had another idea, and this is where it, kind of looked like it was going to go somewhere else. So yeah, it's not always neat, it's not always pretty, but just get the ideas out on paper.
Yeah, these guys have got everything down to a T, I would say. For me, my concept came from a character that I'd already made. I designed toys. I went to a toy convention with the toy. Everybody asked me, what's the story behind the toy? And I snowballed an idea. Everyone loved that idea. And then I thought, I read manga, I draw, let's make a natural story of it. So then the story came along, wrote chapter 1, sent it out to some friends. They loved the idea, sent it out to the people that had bought the toys at the Comic-Con at the time. Loved it. It just snowballed from there. I wrote for a year. I've gone back and changed things. I've added stuff in. I've taken stuff out. Every way, there is no right way to do it. You just do it the way that feels natural for you. As long as you've got passion and you believe in your story, it doesn't matter if it makes you £1 million or £10. You have then created something that you're passionate about, and that's 99% of a creation right there.
And this is all great tips, and I'm going to share a few of mine. I'm going to reveal my secrets. There's a YouTube channel called Overly Sarcastic Productions. Now, one of them is called Red, that's her persona, and she does something called Trope Talks. Now you're thinking, oh great, trope, so tropey. However, get out of your mind. Tropes are like a tool, like any other writing thing. So you need to understand the trope first and go, what can I bring something new to the table that makes that trope a little bit more fresh, or I could do better than that. It doesn't matter how you see it. Trope is actually a tool in your toolbox. All it is a storytelling element, like the journey of the hero, or a band of heroes where one is the heart, one is the comedic effect, one is the stoic badass, one is the edgelord who sits in the corner somewhere and probably gets edgy at some point. But second idea is, for me, I'm dyslexic and I use Grammarly to check my spellings because Word is my absolute enemy. Trust me, it does not correct any of my spellings at all. Grammarly seems to be the most foolproof one. So there's a few, I know they're more not storytelling applications, but they are more to help you on your journey to get better. And one more thing, do not try to be perfect, like these guys said. If you try to be perfect, you're not going to get that work out of it. You're not going to get any concept art. You're not going to publish it into a book how you want it to. But the best advice is get 80% perfect, move on, grow, learn, start again. Because actually, when I learned this lesson, my artwork actually improved tenfold, and the writing as well. I didn't get stuck and go, oh God, how do I do this? I'll sod it, I'll go back to it later. Anyways, on to the second thing. If you're going to write a story, write what you want. Now, I know a lot of publishing companies, not you guys obviously, but a lot of big ones out there will try and get you to do what's the safest, what's most profitable. The age of independent creators is now, because One Punch Man started as a webcomic which was somewhat badly drawn, but developed into such an iconic idea. Now there's an anime and there's an artist now working on his manga, and it's like one of the biggest ones ever. Solo Leveling, if you know that started out as a webcomic. And again, you don't need to be perfect, you just need to be entertained with your story. What is your thoughts on that?
So when it comes to your story writing and sticking to your story, I've gone back and forth with Head of Cat many times. I've come up with characters and trying to take inspiration from all my favourite animes. Dragon Ball, massive influence on Head of Cat. Bleach, Solo Leveling, you name it, it's in there. All the hints are in there. You just have to write what you know and what you feel and just go with it. If it makes sense, it makes sense. If it doesn't, it doesn't. That's your story to tell. It's not for a publisher or an editor to come along and go, well, this is what's in, this is what you should write. No, this is your story. Stick to it, stick to your guns. You know, it's you have an idea, and that idea will develop. And trust me, you'll go back, you'll change things. You'll get 10, 20 chapters in, and then you go, wait a minute, this you're forgotten what you wrote in chapter 1. Go back, change it back. So yeah, just stick to what you know.
So I was going to say something about writing techniques as well. You have to try and find writing techniques that work for you. And if you're stuck, like one of the ones that I learned, for example, if you're stuck with going forward, always refer back. So when we get a story in and we get a synopsis, we try to look into the lore of the world. So if you can explain the lore of your world, then you can always go forward with your world because you know how the past affects the future. So finding little techniques like that can work. So some people, they like having that structure. Okay, so this is how the world started. It's, say if it was set on our Earth, you can set it on our Earth, or you can set it in your own world, you create its own history, or you go based on the history that, say, our world is in. And from there, you can always go forward. So if you find little writing techniques like that, like I said, that might not work for you, but you gotta find one that does. Some people like to write sporadically. As long as you know what works for you, you can stick to your story, and you can always move forward.
Yeah, and honestly, like you were saying, like having some sort of structure to your story is very important. Structure, yeah.
I was wondering why.
Yeah, because like even if you just get bullet points out on the page, like this is supposed to happen, right? Here's a plot point. Here's a plot point. Here's a plot point. You don't know how you're going to get there, but at the very least, you have some semblance of a, like path that you're trying to follow. Then you can always go back and fill in the gaps. It's not important to try and fill out your entire story as you're writing it. A lot of times that doesn't happen. You may have a beginning, a middle, and an end, and you don't know exactly what's going to happen in the middle, but as long as you kind of figure out some of the smaller points, like you start with the bigger points and then break it down into smaller points, like, okay, this is supposed to happen here, this is supposed to happen here, then you can start to fill it in, right? And then going back to what you were saying about, writing what you want, and it's your story. And taking from influences is fine. There's nothing wrong with being influenced by things. You don't have to be 100% original. Nothing is 100% original. That is damn near impossible. So never strive to be 100% original. Just be authentic. That's the best way I can look at it.
Another little bit that I'll say to you is, this is going to sound odd. Does anyone here play Dungeons and Dragons? Hands up. Be honest. If you're a DM, it is a great way to world build. Sometimes you go, because mine's based in this world, but fancy animals, I go, well, I wonder what it'd be like for my world in Victorian times. I run a campaign on it, and I'm not kidding you, 2 kids found out King Henry VIII had a polar bear and then robbed it. Yeah, I'm not kidding. They literally stole a polar bear and then gone, oh, we found your polar bear, can we have the bounty? And now I'm going to put that in my manga as an in-joke for my players. So they built world lore, thanks guys. But I know it's a funny thing, but sometimes you can actually have ideas all of a sudden thinking, oh, maybe the villain wasn't living at this time, or oh, maybe this organisation will destroy this because of X reason, or maybe in an Illuminati or whatnot. Or maybe Dio's there all along, I don't know. But all Dio jokes aside, seriously, try anything that inspires you, whether it's a game, tabletop, anything. Because trust me, anything could spark that imagination and have that click in your head, and then you'll start writing or drawing before you know it. Anyways, after you finish building your story, after you've done your one shot or you planned out your volumes, what do? Well, there's a few things you need to do, and I am failing so many of these pit holes. I am not kidding you, because I was standing here fumbling in the dark like this, like, what do I do next? First off, do your research about what self-publishing company or publishing company suits your needs. Now, I made a mistake with the first volume, spending £1,000 on 100 books, when I could have gone with Mixam and done it for the quarter of the price. And it is a costly mistake, but it is a lesson learned, and I cannot recommend them enough. Mixam have great customer service. Trust me, I'm not sponsored. I wish I was, but there you go. And they help you, they're really friendly service. I'm autistic myself, so sometimes when I have a little meltdown, when I'm panicking, they are really helpful. Secondly, you need a little thing called a barcode and an ISBN number. That's the little number on the back of every goddamn book. You do need it to register your book. And anyone from the UK here, I'm guessing most of you are, there's a little law that I found out when I brought out the first volume. Apparently, if you publish in England, you need to send one copy of your book to the British Library. Now, yes, it does, of course, cost you a book. However, this actually comes in a big advantage, because they will send you an official letter going, thank you for sending a book at the British Library. That is your proof of copyright. Keep that letter safe, keep it hidden. Until the day you need it, because trust me, I almost lost my letters once, and oh my. But the most important thing is, I've heard a lot of horror stories from, again, bigger publishing companies who try to take your copyright away, try to control your work, try to tell you what to do, or boss you around what to do and treat you like hell. Now, with the rise of self-publishing and wonderful companies like you guys, you have now got a lot more control, a lot more copyright, and how much royalties you can get. If you do go down the publishing route, my only advice is get a lawyer to read your contracts. This could be a friend who's a lawyer. This could be, there's servers upon servers out there with lawyers that can give you advice. Just get a lot of them to look it over, just in case there's a small print going, I own your soul. They won't own your soul, but they'll probably have something like that. Anyways, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, just following on what you were saying, it's about finding something that does work for you in terms of what type of publisher you want to go with. I mean, most importantly as well, once your story is done, I think it's really important to network. So like you were saying, getting other writers to read over the type of contracts that they're in, or getting to know how other writers get their stories out there. So networking is very, very important. And you might even find, somehow like I did, you come with a group of people and you create your own type of publishing, if you know what I mean, and you're self-publishing with a group of other people. And that could be easier for you guys because you have that network there. So find the type of publishers that you want, and even if you did get your own group of people, you need to understand, in the industry of publishing, there's only 5 really big publishers out there in the West anyway. It used to be 6, now it's the big 5. A lot of the times, those big 5 take smaller publishing companies in and then work under them, and that could be a benefit to you as well, because then you have a bigger budget, etc. So even if you, what I'm saying is you can do it alone, but trust me, networking helps so much. It's how I met my friend from America here, and yeah, we've been on the journey together, and yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, I will say you cannot stress enough how important it is to protect your work, like you were saying. Copyrights are extremely important. I mean, as long as you have some way to prove that you own the IP, no one can take it from you. And just be, like you said, get a lawyer. You don't have to hire a lawyer, but I mean, if you can network and find somebody who, you know, does contract work, does legal work, have them read over whatever it is.
So in the UK, you can like take contracts for solicitors who will go through it for like a cheap fee as well. So even just a local solicitors, if you ever get a contract from any type of publisher, so that's just the UK thing there. So
yeah, no, and like I'm from the US, so I'm not really sure how that works. You might be able to do the same thing, I'm not sure. We got lucky because one of our friends is a lawyer and came on our team and became our legal counsel. So she reads all of our contracts, both manga and animation-wise. and so we don't really have to worry about trying to outsource for that. But it just makes sure that you don't let anything slip through the cracks as far as losing a portion of your IP or anything that you have. So yeah, just make sure that you're 100% covered. Trademark your logos, trademark any kind of designs that you have. I would definitely recommend just do more is worse than nothing at all or less. You know what I'm saying? So you can never be too overprotected.
So I think this is great. Because I'm going down the self-publish issue, the self-publish way, and these guys have already taught me loads already, which is fantastic. So this is the whole point of this panel, to teach you guys, and I'm learning as I go along. So yeah, cheers for the advice. You know, it's brilliant.
I mean, I don't know what a trademark was until you said it, so thank you. You gave me a good tip. It's also worth noting that obviously we say get a lawyer and all that, and obviously you've got to protect yourself. If you are from another country, please do not go on YouTube or Facebook or whatever and get your copyright laws there, because there's probably either outdated or misinformed. Just go on your local government website and literally you will find your rights there. I know it's boring and a snooze fest, but trust me, knowledge gives you power. Not unlimited sadly, but a lot of power. Right, our experiences with publishing versus published. So obviously I'm a self-published mangaka, I'm not with a company. Upsides to it, again, total control. Obviously you can get your story out there yourself, you can choose the direction where it goes and your journey as an artist, a story maker and all of that. The only downside is you have to be your own agent. You have to be your own, you have to spread out all the expenses for your own books, for your tables, all that. And even though it sounds like a bit of an expensive downside, it is well worth it today because you have a lot of freedom. And there is lots of avenues to go down, I mean, to raise funds. Kickstarter, for example. There's loads of websites like Patreon, Ko-fi, take your pick. And trust me, you will find something that will help you guys out along the way. Now, I believe, hands up for published? Yeah. So, give me the pros and cons of published.
I guess with publishing, it takes a lot of the stress away from you. Now some people enjoy the stress, some people can thrive, but say if you just want to focus solely on your art and story, then with a publisher, usually you get set up with an editor, usually they help with marketing, usually they help with your print, usually they help with your distribution. And sometimes you do see a less of a return, but that less of a return is because a lot of work is going into basically getting your book out there. With a publisher as well, you don't have to be your own agent. Once you're like a recognized publisher, your book starts to come under a list under wholesalers. And then if you can market enough properly, wholesalers will get call-ups from bookstores to say, yeah, we want this, etc. But there's a lot of fun in self-publishing as well. If you are going to self-publish, my advice would be go to your local comic book stores, because your local comic book stores are going to be willing to take you. Trust me, if your story is good, they will help you. So yeah, if you want to self-publish that way, yeah, it can help. But like I said, with a publisher, it takes a lot away from you. So it depends on what type of person you are. If you like to be in control of everything, go for it. If you want a little bit of help, then find a publisher that, as my friend has been saying, works for you. And make sure you know your rights. Again, stress that.
Yeah, so before we were Studio Maho and became a animation studio, AnimeCon studio, we did explore the option of, you know, going the traditional North American publishing route, which was finding an agent, going through a traditional publishing house like a Penguin Random House or something like that. And we learned a lot, especially from a friend of ours who went through the same ordeal, has a book published through a major publisher. Yeah, so the pros and cons are really, they will pay you a lot of money up front if your series is good, if they believe in it, and they think you can sell a lot of copies. The downside is, even if you get that sum of money, you have to sell that amount of copies that they say that you should be selling. If not, you basically work at a deficit, right? So if you don't sell that many copies, your books will sit on shelves until they're gone. With self-publishing, you put out as many copies as you want in circulation. You know, the downside is you're paying for each shipment of books that goes out to whatever store or comic book store, bookstore, wherever you're shelving your book at. So it's a lot on both sides, but like you said, self-publishing comes with a lot more freedom. Regardless, get a lawyer. Like just the legal side of things is non-negotiable either way. So it's really just how much comfort you want and how much control you're willing to give up for that comfort. So
when it comes to the self-publishing side of things, which I'm going down at the moment, I've been very fortunate with the likes of AnimeCon. Back in January, I gave a teaser 10-page chapter 1 away to people that came to my table. Had some toys on the table. I was doing a Kickstarter at the time, which I think it was just the wrong time to start a Kickstarter. I got halfway through my goal. Deterred me a little bit, but it's never stopped me. I've continued drawing, I've continued writing. You're going to come along bumps in the road, and then where I live, Newcastle, my local comic book stores like Traveling Man and Forbidden Planet, which I frequent because I buy manga. I've let them read a couple of chapters, I've shown them character designs, and again, because I'm a regular there, they were like, yeah, get it in, give us a teaser, hand it out, get you on the shelves and stuff like that. And that's your marketing right there. As long as you've got people believing in your product, like, I'm always sending chapters to friends, family, and people that want to read it, I show them snippets, and if they want to read it, I'll send it to you. But you've got to trust these people, you've got to make sure that you protect your work, and that get NDAs as well, non-disclosure. That's a must, because then when your work goes out there, it's protected straight away. Always have an NDA. That's it.
If anyone wonders what an NDA is, it's a non-disclosure agreement, and that means if they sneak preview your stuff, it's a contract to say you can't get it on public. You can't let's put this on YouTube and upload it. You can go, no, you signed the contract. It is very important, even if it's your best friend, you're looking out for your best interest, and you just need to explain to them in a way, don't do that, just go, look buddy, I'm just doing this, just want to protect my work. Also, little other tips for self-publishing, there are free ways of doing it, like Amazon Kindle and Google Play Books. You can actually sign up for free and upload your works on there, and then you can set a price for it, and that's it. I mean, Mixam's working on PrintLink, so instead of you just publishing 100 books and hope you sell at the con and just do cons, you can literally go upload your works, set the price, and they'll do all the work for you if someone buys a book from the website, which is absolutely phenomenal, and it's a game changer for a lot of self-publishers. So all you need to buy is what you need for a convention, and trust me, you'll need a lot more than you think. My first con, I'm going to tell a little story, that my first ever one was 2015 at MCM as a seller. I just published volume 1. I did not know I was going to sell well or not. And MCM still holds the record to this day for 50 volume 1s sold. And I was like, wow, yeah, your reaction there, Angel Dust. Like, my face was like, wow. That was amazing. And after that, there was a little heart-touching moment where I had my first fan email, and it actually made me cry. I was sobbing like a SOB in the back of the car. My parents on my way home, and it was by a young girl. I believe her name was Jennifer, and she said how much her book inspired her, and she wants to self-publish now because she's seen someone like me. And I told her when I was in school, they told me I wouldn't amount to much because of my autism and dyslexia. I would just go in the supermarket, not make much friends, and that would be it. And now I'm here standing here talking to you all like I'm some mad lunatic in an AA meeting, and talking about how to self-publish. I mean, that's a milestone for me, and it matters to me so much that all of you have come here and hopefully learned from us and our own mistakes and grow and learn from them. And this is going to lead into something. Please be honest with your readers and audience. There's so many companies that lie to people these days and gaslight and, well, like, there's a Coast in there, OGL scandal if you know about that. But be honest with your audience. Just turn around if you messed up with spellings. I mean, people found London in my book instead of London, and I've just gone, yeah, that was me. However, my dad proofread it. I'm dyslexic. I have an excuse, Dad. But all jokes aside, just own up, laugh with your audience. You can build a really great community. I have such a small community, but they're all lovely. Every single one of them I cannot do without, because you are the guy, all of you out there are the ones that make us who we are as creators. You are the guys who give us a chance by buying our books, by looking at our stuff, by going, who's that character? He looks like a bit of a... Oh no, that character looks like a little tyke. Who is he? That is really important to us. So my challenge to you all, anyone who hasn't read a self-published book, go into Artist Alley, find all the original content creators out there, not just who's published books, prints, concepts, whatever, and give them a chance. Buy their original stuff. Tell them you want to see their story out there. I believe that's everything I have to say, unless you guys want to add a little bit for Q&A.
Say, just closing off, Bob, like, have fun and stay genuine, because there's going to be a time where your story will be done and you're going to want to go back and write just the happy moments that your characters were having with each other, just those somber moments that your characters had, whether it was something mundane that they were doing or something really exciting. So please have fun and trust me, stick with it. The journey will end and you will miss it when it ends. You will miss it when it ends. So please have fun.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself, honestly. Just trust the process, man. That's the fun part. The fun part is creating, right? What comes after is the fruits of your labor. But the process of creating is what should keep you wanting to create more. So never lose that spark. If you're getting burnt out, take breaks. Don't feel like you have to work on your work. Like, sometimes you just get those blocks and you don't feel like working, and that's okay. Like, that's part of creating. When you try to work through burnout and just make yourself work, you actually will start to hate your work. You won't want to work on it anymore. So I've gone through that myself, and I cannot recommend enough. It's not enough to take one day off sometimes. Sometimes you need a week, sometimes you need a month. Take whatever time you need away from the work to get yourself re-inspired to work on it again. So.
Yeah, these guys have said it perfectly. Just don't give up, even when you want to. Don't. Just keep going. Take a break. Read your work. Send it to your friends. Send it to your family. Just you started something. You had that passion. Follow it right through, and trust me, the end. You'll be amazed at the ending. Even if the ending isn't where you see it is, you've learned something. You've gone through a journey. And that journey is everything. So yeah, all the best.
Because it's never about the destination, really. It's always about the journey and the people you meet on your way. I mean, I started out doing tables on my own, and I now got two best friends that come with me at Con and actually help me out. Don't worry, I've got the whip hiding back somewhere. That I'll whip it back into work when I come back. Anyways, so we're going to have a Q&A now, and then we're going to see the winner of a raffle that I have been cooking up thanks to these lovely people and the other artists in Artist Alley. I've helped out with this. I've got a bag. Do you mind getting the bag out? We've got this lovely, as you can see, it is somewhat weighty bag of prizes, and I believe one of them was signed by somebody famous, wasn't it?
Yeah, so one of our series, we have some animation in the works, and obviously we're an animation studio. The main character for our series God Punch is voiced by Zeno Robinson. So we have one of our posters actually signed by him. We're raffling off some more tomorrow, but we've got one in the bag here for a lucky winner. So
not just you get our works, but you get some little bit of famous in there. So I think that was pretty cool, and that was really kind of you. You really shouldn't have, but thank you so much. I'm sure one lucky person is going to scream when they get that. Hands up if you have a question about being self-published or about our journey. If not, I have a question for you lot. Hands up who has thought of a story of their own. Oh, there's a lot of you. Who do I pick? Let's go down. Let's have a look. Keep your hands up. Okay. I'm going to pick 3 of you. I am going to pick you, and Angel Dust. Would you like to come up? If you want Nifty to come up, they can come too. Oh, it's a lethal duo. Now, another thing is, you don't have to do this alone. And I mean, you guys are a prime example of that. So tell me, what are you working on?
We're working on a novel. It is a sapphic coming-of-age novel. And I'm predominantly a writer, but we are working on the plot together. I'm putting it into coherent words. And this one is doing some amazing artwork for it.
So, yeah, I am basically the artist for the book, God help me. We're literally running into plot hole after plot hole.
I find them.
She finds them and I fix them, basically, because I can't write. Like,
You can.
I can't write, I'm the artist, not the writer. But I fix the plot holes, so technically, you're welcome.
What can I say except you're welcome? Let's go to the next person. What is your story, and are you doing it alone or are you doing it with somebody else?
So my story is an action-adventure story. It's also an adventure story, but I'm only doing the writing, so I draw very well. So I'm looking for an illustrator as well. I'm hoping to have it out by next year at some point.
My advice to you, if you can't find an artist, just start learning. I mean, when I first started, I made a little, very crappy bio-drawn comic called Master Changes. And trust me, the drawing was terrible, the spellings were terrible, and I look at it, but I still see that as a point of origin for myself. And just, like I say, get it 8% as well as you can at the time, and grow, move on. Do not try and be perfect, because I'm going to, even if I have to beat out all you lot, you will learn it. Introduce yourself and tell me what your story's about.
My name's Amy, and I actually thought of several ideas for stories, but my main fixation at the moment is one that I've been currently doing with my girlfriend. And what we've been doing so far is just creating and designing characters and thinking of like their personality and their story. And we've also been world building and stuff. So that's my main fixation at the moment, and I'm hoping to draw one of the characters soon. So it's very exciting.
Can I just say, before we hear the last one, you're all very brave to share your story with everybody, and this is the whole point of this panel. Let's get everyone's story shared. What's your name, my friend?
Jordan.
Now, I do know you personally, but please tell us what your story's about.
Currently working on like a fantasy type of world, so going along with the mostly based on sort of like it's like several different arcs within like the fantasy world based on like a team of people working together. At the minute, it's mostly bullet points, and I've got a decent team of friends who can actually draw, like me.
Hey, everyone's got to start somewhere, and that's the point of this as well. You don't need a high level of entry. Again, One Punch Man was a bunch of scribbles until he made it, and they got an artist to do all the amazing artwork in the pages of One Punch Man. I mean, Jesus Christ, what a difference. I mean, my favourite manga, Hellsing, the art style is really different to what it is by volume 10. I am not kidding you. Anyways, does anyone have now any questions? Thank you lot, if you want to sit down. Is there any hands up if you want to ask questions? Feel free to come up. Or are you all good? Right, I think you know what you're here for. Oh, come ahead. feel free to stand up. Sorry. The cable's not too long. I'm sorry.
My question is, where can we find you guys now? If somebody wants to publish with you, or somebody wants to talk to you about animation, whatever, wants to look at your work, where do we find you?
That is actually an excellent question. Who wants to step forward for that one?
You can find me on Instagram, LSF_96_red. Please, if you're a writer or artist, need any advice or want to get involved in Moseki publishing eventually, just drop me a message. I'm available most of the time.
Yeah, you can find us, Studio Maho. It's literally Studio Maho on pretty much everything. Instagram, Twitter. Although I think on Instagram it's official Studio Maho. And that's M-A-H-O, Studio M-A-H-O. Myself personally is Kokujin Creates, K-O-K-U-J-I-N, Creates, but with a K. If you have any kind of questions or anything, you're more than welcome to reach out. Also, stop by the table if you want to grab a business card. That may be easier than trying to list all of the different ways to follow me on social media and the company. We got plenty of those, so yeah.
And you can find me on Instagram. It's Original Resins, R-E-Z-I-N-Z. It's got stuff from the manga and loads of my previous toy makings as well. So again, if you've got any questions or you want to read a couple of the chapters that I've already drawn out as a little preview, give me a shout. I'm happy to share.
So as for myself, I'm obviously not a company or anything, but if you want to check me out, I'm Vamp the Lost Soul on every social media. Thank the social media gods, I kept that name on every platform. Kara, Twitter, Twitch. If you're too shy to ask me questions today, I do D&D and art on stream. So on the art streams, just go, hey Vamp, I'm from Comic-Con, I watched your panel, I watched you trip over yourself, so ha ha ha. Anyways, I need a question answered. I am more than happy to answer it and laugh along with you guys. Thank you everybody for coming to How to Publish Your Manga, and remember, tell your story!
I want to say a big thank you to all my Patreon supporters, and I wanted to shout out Kimono Cat, Kira Stanada. Your help goes a long way to help support the channel, and if you want to help support the channel, the links to my Patreon and channel memberships are listed below in the description.
あらあら、チャンネルをサポートしてくれてありがとうございます。チャンネル登録、高評価お願いします。以下のリンクから商品を入手することができます。